first of all, happy Pride Month. Second of all, I just realised something about this shirt that I should realise sooner because I've had it for so long. The colours on the outside forming the circle are actually the colours of the Pan Pride flag, or just the pansexual flag, because you got the pink, you got the yellow, you got the blue. I noticed that earlier today, and I was quite proud that I managed to catch on to that. But that's not what we're here to talk about, although cool detail, eh? We're here to talk about the fight of the night that took place last night at the UFC Apex. And it was the co-main event between Alex Caceres and Daniel Pineda, and I'm going to go through it round by round and try and recall as much as I can. So, yeah, let's do that. The fight begins, obviously, with round one, and it's very much a grappling exchange from the off. Daniel is the first to initiate takedowns. Doesn't really get any in round one. He's stuffed. That's my finger cracking. His takedowns are stuffed, by Caceres, who manages to take his back fairly easily and tries to roll through for some submission attempts, but mostly he's just using it to control Daniel and is on top of him for the majority of round one. There is a fair bit of ground rolling as well. The two men are exchanging some really good stuff. There's a triangle attempt from Daniel, which Caceres slips out of. There's a lot of really smooth grappling exchanges. I can't really recall a lot of them right now, but there was quite a bit of groundwork. I think Caceres attempted to get up, but I think Daniel still had the clinch and managed to take him down again. However, the best moment was around about 45 seconds left of round one, where Caceres thought he had an out and tried to escape, and Daniel managed to snatch an armbar onto him. Well, he put an armbar on Caceres, and it looks really deep, but Caceres managed to roll out and get the foot of Pineda, I think it was his right foot, just under his head so that he could escape the armbar. It was really nasty looking. I think they spent the rest of round one on their feet. There wasn't a whole lot of strikes exchanged for this entire round, to be honest. It was mostly grappling, and even though I did a piss poor job explaining it, it was really exciting grappling, and it was still fairly one-sided. I'm giving it to Caceres mostly because his defense was good. His defense of the clinch takedowns was really good. His defense on the ground was quite good, except for that one armbar that Daniel had. He didn't really have any major moments, and it was mostly smooth sailing for Caceres. And I think it's worth reminding that both these men are really good on the ground, but Caceres is not as likely to initiate takedowns as Daniel is, and I think that's where Daniel sort of fell short. We then get to round two, though, and Daniel is not waiting any time. He blasts Caceres with a heavy right hand, and then blasts him with a couple more, knocks him back against the cage, and then gets a takedown and trips Caceres down. And again, it's very much a grappling exchange from this point forwards. I believe, and I think this was in round two, it could have been round three, there is a moment where Daniel has a body triangle on Caceres, and Caceres, it's very much in the rear naked choke position, and Caceres turns around and sort of gets on top of Daniel from that point. You don't really see that often, and I think he managed to use that to land some elbows and some punches to the body and head on Daniel. But make no mistake, Daniel was able to reverse it and get back up pretty well. He was caught with a nasty body shot at some point in round two, and I think that led to Caceres landing some good strikes up top, but Daniel kept going for spinning stuff. It wasn't working for him. He was probably pretty gassed from the body shots, as the commentators pointed out. And even though Daniel was hit hard, when it came to the ground stuff, he was definitely the more dominant one. He definitely had more control time. He was throwing up a few more submissions. I think he went for a sort of triangle attempt, or Caceres went for a sort of side triangle attempt from underneath that didn't really work for him, and Daniel was able to turn that to another good top man position. He was mostly on the top though, and I give round two slightly in favour to Daniel. I do think he dominated more of round two, but I don't think he dominated as much as Caceres did of round one. I still give it's still one piece to me, and again, they did do a great job of calling round two, but again, a whole lot of groundwork. Most of it was really good. I like the striking a lot. Can't really think of much else to say. I'm really bad at this. Why do people watch these? And finally, we reach round three, and good lord, okay. Starts fairly well for Alex Caceres. He lands a nasty body shot to Daniel, and that wins Daniel almost instantly. He's not knocked down, but he's sort of gassed out incredibly from the body shot, from the body kick from Caceres, and Caceres is landing a lot more body shots after that. He's keeping Daniel at bay with his much longer reach, landing shots to the body, mostly throwing a few to the head, but mostly going for the body, which is a very smart choice from him. He lands another vicious body kick, which I swear almost sliced Daniel in half from like the midsection. It looked pretty goddamn gruesome, and he's mostly just sticking on him, throwing all these body shots. I think Daniel is, he's just mostly backing away. I think he gets a takedown, or he attempts a takedown that Caceres stuffs. There's not a whole lot of groundwork on this one, but for the most part when it is standing up, it's very one-sided in favour of Caceres, who is landing so many long-range shots because of him. Like, I don't know if he's taller, but he's definitely got the longer reach than Pineda. But then, I fully give round 3 to Caceres. But with about 8 seconds left, out of fucking nowhere, Daniel lands the biggest shot in this fight. He lands a beauty of a right hand that knocks Caceres down. Sort of tries to follow up on it, but he's obviously way too gassed, and Mark Smith even has to remind him to actually start doing work. But Daniel is just smiling through it. All the fucking punishment he's taking, he's not staying down. I have to give him credit for that, and he knocks Alex down with a vicious right near the end of the round, and ergo near the end of the fight. But he mostly... but Caceres manages to recover, and, they sort of stalemate for the last 8 seconds, so... Now we've got to talk about it. So I know I did a really bad job explaining this fight, and also it was in the Apex Center. No one likes the Apex Center, really. I think the UFC should just stop that. It doesn't need to be a thing anymore. It really fucking doesn't. However, having said that, I quite like this fight. I don't think it was exactly the most exciting thing, but it was an exciting thing. But it was a very fun fight at the end of the day. I thought both guys put in a really good bit of work. Daniel Pineda especially impressed me, even though he was getting murdered summarily. Caceres did get the win by unanimous decision. I still think it should have been split, because I do think that Pineda took round 2. But I think it was still a very, very close fight for what it was, and it was mostly just a really good bunch of grappling. I can't really complain about that. The stand-up striking was pretty good until Caceres just started murdering Pineda in round 2 until Pineda almost murdered... Sorry, in the round 3 until Pineda almost murdered him by the end of the fight. So, yeah, it was an interesting one to say the least. I still recommend you go and watch it. No complaints about Caceres winning. Just a genuinely fun fight. It won't be in the top 10 of the year, because, again, I felt like it was a bit too one-sided, especially as Caceres started taking more control in round 3. But it's still a fight I recommend you go and find for yourself. Next is what's next for me, and I don't know. Hopefully I can start the Battle Block Theatre Let's Play soon with Fen. I've been promised so many times, and things keep getting in the way. And I don't want to do it on my own. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm not doing it without him. But the next thing you'll see me for will likely be Music of the Week on Thursday, and then the Go Home Show of Reference on Friday. That's really about all I can think of, honestly, and, there might be a top 10 video this week, I don't really know. I'll see you all likely on Thursday. That's about all I can think of for the Music of the Week episode. So as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye-bye.